You're watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. From Toronto, Ontario, I'm Catherine Bullock. Assalamu alaikum and greetings of peace. Today an interview with Nabeel Hasan about Uyghur reality in China. First, some news headlines. COVID restrictions and measures ahead of the long weekend. Recount in Quebec riding grants one more seat to the Liberals. Canadian soccer team scores against Mexico after 41 years. Journalists Maria Ressa and Dmitry Muratov win the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. And a Muslim engineer designs a flying car. And now some details. Almost 2 years into a COVID-19 pandemic, officials have started to encourage vaccinated individuals to gather with friends and family over the long weekend. Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kieran Moore, has said that it is safe to hold gatherings with people outside your home so long as they obey public health guidelines. If all attendees are vaccinated, then it is considered safe to remove your mask. It is recommended that you check your province's public health guidelines before making any plans. It is also recommended to hold gatherings outdoors as much as possible and to keep a list of attendees in case an outbreak occurs. Immunocompromised Canadians, older residents, and individuals with chronic illnesses are asked to take extra precautions at gatherings by keeping their mask on and social distancing. Brenda Shanahan will return to Parliament after a recount in her riding of Châteauguay-Lacolle. Elections Canada announced that the recount gave Shanahan a 12-vote lead, a small margin compared to the initial 286 votes announced on election day. The Liberals now have 35 seats in Quebec, with the Bloc at 32, both unchanged from the results of the 2019 election. The recount still puts Trudeau's Liberals 10 seats below the minimum required for a majority government. In an event unseen within the last 41 years, the Canadian soccer team has tied with Mexico 1-1 in the World Cup qualifiers. This comes 4 games into the qualifiers, where Team Canada fought hard against Mexico. History stood against Canada in this game, as the previous achievement was won by Jerry Gray in 1980. 41 years later, Jonathan Oroseo's shot has Canada continuing in the qualifiers. Canada has already won against El Salvador and tied with the United States and Honduras. All eyes are on the Canadian team to continue what turned out to be a very surprising and eventful season. Journalist Maria Ressa from the Philippines and Dmitry Muratov from Russia were both awarded the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. Chair of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, Berit Reiss-Andersen, applauded their efforts for freedom of expression by using free, independent, and fact-based journalism to fight against propaganda. Ressa, a co-founder of Repele, has called attention to President Rodrigo Duterte's controversial policies, including his use of social media to spread fake news. Muratov was the founder of Novaya Gazeta, an independent Russian newspaper created in 1993. The paper adopted a critical perspective in analyzing power in Russian politics. Ressa and Muratov will be awarded with a gold medal and over $1.14 million. And a Muslim engineer from India has designed a flying car. Mohammad Furkan Shoaib, an aeronautical engineer from the state of Uttar Pradesh in India, works for the Indian startup Vinata Aeromobility as the Chief Technology Officer. He is also an inventor and certified UAV pilot. The scale model of the aircraft is currently available for viewing at a Helitech show in London. The company is fundraising to produce the first prototype. Their intention is to use this new technology to transport people and cargo, as well as assist with emergency services. That's it for the news. And now our conversation with Nabeel Hasan about Uyghur experiences in China. Welcome to the show, Brother Nabeel. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
You're organizing an event at Al-Falah Masjid tonight, which is in Oakville. I think it's the head office of ICNA Canada, Islamic Circle of North America. And it's about education, consciousness raising, I guess, or education about the Uyghur situation in China. And part of your title is fact or fiction. Can you please explain why you added that phrase to the title of your event tonight?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on your show, first of all. As regards the question, we have seen that many within the community believe that this Uyghur situation that we hear in our press about the repression of them and concentration camps, some people have used the word genocide, is a hoax. They believe it is a Western hoax, and it is there to malign China as an emerging power. So we have actually met out with people that have run away from that country, and they're part of the World Uyghur Congress here. And the feedback that they have given, our role, to highlight different members within our community is simply for us to do a program and to hear what they have experienced while in their homeland, China. So that's what we're simply highlighting for our congregation.
My understanding then, if I read between the lines, your program in a way is answering the question that you don't think it's a fiction, you think it's a fact, and here are the voices of the people to talk about that. Am I right?
Absolutely. And you see, we haven't done our own investigative journalism or something. We're not, that's not our role. So we are just providing a medium for the people that have experienced disturbing events in their life to come and showcase what has happened. And these are people that have experienced it. Their family members have experienced it. They are here to talk about some of the events that have happened while here, away from China. And we just wanted to hear their stories, in a non-judgmental way, and let the audience make up their own mind, whether it's fact or fiction.
I remember at the University of Toronto, I can't remember if it was the downtown campus or the Mississauga campus last year, there's some Uyghur students had tried to organize a similar kind of education event, and they were harassed by Chinese students on campus. And the claim of many of those Uyghur students was that they were actually agents of the communist government trying to silence them in Canada, and they were calling on the university to give them free speech protection.
That's very similar to what we have heard here with the people that are leaders in the Uyghur community, that they have very few people that will speak, and those people that will speak that actually are good in speaking in the language of English are far and few. And those people are more near Ottawa, so they can be hearing, sharing their grievances with the Canadian government. But the majority of the average people that have escaped from the Uyghur community are fearful of, even coming to such events, even if it highlights their own plight of the people that are left behind.
You are a community activist helping organize this event tonight. Do you have enough information to share with us some of the personal testimonies you yourself has heard, which made you convinced that this was something happening, that you wanted to spend volunteer hours participating in organizing events?
Absolutely. So, I mean, initially we were skeptical as well. Part of it also is the language barrier, because the people that I am speaking to, English is not their first language. And we have spoken with them, heard their stories, and they're not people that we just see once in a while. These are people actually that I bumped into. There's a person with a car, it's a white car, and he has the word on the bumper sticker saying, Google Uyghur. And I saw this car in Mississauga, I saw it in Oakville, and I was like, why is someone mentioning that? And then I realized that this person was praying the Isha prayer with us in Al-Falah Masjid. And I actually started having a conversation with him. And over a month after hearing their stories, I was like, wow, this is something that we need the community here to know. And that is why I think the brainchild of doing a program came into being. It's not that we're doing a program only for the Uyghur situation. We've done programs for Kashmir. We've done programs for the Rohingya. We've done programs for other areas where, human rights abuses have been taking place in Al-Falah. But what I tried to do is, only if you have a person that is from that region will we actually have a program. We're not going to get, people that are hearing it secondhand or third hand, because that weakens the message.
Now, when Muslims talk about Western conspiracies and hoaxes, they don't usually talk about it when it's against a non-Muslim group claiming something about the Muslim group. I would have thought that the default would to be believe the Uyghurs and think any defense of China would be a Western hoax. Can you talk us through why somebody would think that the Western hoax, but it's actually against the Muslim Uyghurs?
So, Kathy, I'll be frank, that's a very complex question. And in order to peel the layers of that, it would take way more time than we have. But what I can mention is simply that China has a Belt and Road Initiative, and in countries in Africa that are Muslim, in countries in South Asia, including Pakistan, which is where I am from, they have invested heavily. And therefore, the media of these Muslim countries does have certain restrictions on what they can and what they cannot say. And our Muslims sitting in their drawing rooms and TV rooms that are consuming news from back home are going to be more influenced by that news than by the Wall Street Journal or BBC or Al Jazeera or whatever reputable news agency that you follow. And that is why we're actually bumping up against this sort of thing. And part, I think, is also the unwillingness of the Uyghur community themselves to engage and tell their stories unless they don't have very few people left in China. And there is no fear of repercussion by them speaking out freely. So that's part of the reason I'm using my God-given right of free speech here to speak on their behalf and give them a voice, because I believe that they're, voiceless in a way.
So that would mean that the Uyghur community here and perhaps globally doesn't feel a sense of being part of the Ummah, the Muslim. We're supposed to, if one community feels pain, we all feel pain.
That's the hadith, absolutely. But in practice, they haven't felt that way. And they mentioned this to me because I believe 2 weeks ago on a Saturday, they had a Hamilton building that they had purchased, which was going to be their Uyghur community center. And they told me, this is the Secretary General of the organization, said, we have sent out 200 invites to Muslim organizations. And the response rate of people to say, yes, we will come and celebrate you opening up a Uyghur community center has been dismal. So they are not really feeling the love. And that hadith is, sorry to say, they're not feeling that hadith as far as the Ummah is concerned.
We actually interviewed someone from the Uyghur community who'd come down from Ottawa for that opening. And he talked about how important it was for his community, how meaningful it was in preserving Uyghur culture and also in the interfaith and community education aspect of being in Canada. They got a good response from the neighbors. Mm-hmm. So he didn't mention that. I guess he was being polite that they'd invited so many people who didn't show up.
Yes, I think some people, let's say from the Turkish community, because if you know the history of the Uyghurs, they're a Turkic people. So, some Turkish ethnic mosques may have gone because they understand what's going on with the Uyghur issue. Myself, I had to learn who are the Uyghurs, what is their history, and why were they taken over in 1949 into the state of China and how that happened and the infighting and so on. So once you understand that history, I think you can relate more to the Uyghur community. And it's not only the Uyghur community. Uyghurs are a community of Muslims. There are many more other Muslim groups that maybe aren't called Uyghur, but there are other types of ethnicities. Just like in Afghanistan, you have Hazara Afghanis and Tajik Afghanis and Uzbek Afghanis, right? And Pashtun. So there are ethnicities amongst the Chinese as well.
Right. Now we're going to wrap up. Do you have any closing thoughts? Like, what would be the one message you would want to send out for the viewers to think about after they've watched today's segment?
I think just do your own research is very important. And And do come and listen to the program that's happening today at 7:15 in the evening till around 8:30 at Al Falah, which is at 391 Burnhamthorpe Road, intersection of Trafalgar and Burnhamthorpe. And come and hear what they have to say, and then make up your own mind on what you believe is the truth or not, right? I mean, you're getting an opportunity. I think the masjid is providing Muslims an opportunity to come and listen to one of their own brethren and hear what they have to say.
And we have viewers all over. If somebody doesn't live there, will there be a recording that they can access later?
Absolutely. We are going to be live streaming it on the YouTube and Facebook page of Al Falah Islamic Center. And I can share those details with you after.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nabeel Hasan, a community activist, for coming and telling us about the event that you're organizing to spotlight the Uyghur genocide in China. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's it from us. Thank you for watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Stay safe. God bless. See you next time.